Thank you for watching this regional forecast for the Canadian Prairie. I'm Andrew Pritchard, meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, temperatures over the next 10 days, we are bringing in a cooler air mass, especially to portions of Alberta and Saskatchewan. But the good news is we're going to slowly start to moderate that as we head into the weekend and then early on into next week. So cooler temperatures making their way in here for the first few days of the week. Again, especially at Calgary, Saskatchewan, Alberta. Not quite so bad over in Manitoba, not feeling the brunt of the cooler temperatures. But universally, everyone, once you get that cool shot of air, whether it be Monday, Tuesday, all the way into Thursday in parts like Winnipeg, we start to moderate then in the days that follow. Looking at precipitation over the next 7 days, we do have a drier spot here across portions of southern Saskatchewan, southern Alberta. Not going to be totally dry. We'll talk about the opportunity for maybe some rain showers or light snow in that region, but as we look at portions of Alberta and Saskatchewan, much of the snow over the next week falls north of Highway 16. It's Manitoba that's going to see much more widespread, significant precipitation, including some significant snowfall, as the storm system begins to kind of spin down across the region, just kind of drawing the precipitation up and around that area of low pressure. We'll look at that here in depth over the course of this video. Looking at our temperatures as we get the day started, cooler in the east, warmer in the west, above freezing across southeastern Saskatchewan into the Winnipeg area. As you head back to the east, Calgary, -7 right now, Grande Prairie, right around -5 as well, and those sub-zero temperatures extend all the way into southwestern Saskatchewan. Now, as we look at the satellite picture, you can see something kind of cool here. Literally, as you look at this white kind of light blue shading that you see expanding off to the south and to the east, that is our cooler air mass spilling across the region. So this tool, this satellite picture that we normally use to look at cloud cover, we can actually use to look at our air mass across the region, because after dark, when the sun is not shining, we use infrared satellite which uses it's looking at the cloud top temperatures there, so we can see the very cold temperatures of the actual air mass and the snow cover across the region as well. So taking a look at the radar, then we do have some snow going on right now, anywhere from Grande Prairie down to Edmonton, back up toward Fort McMurray. Maybe some showers, snow showers and rain showers as you head off to the east as well, towards portions of Regina and southern Manitoba. We've got some advisories in effect, snowfall advisories in portions of central Alberta. Again, looking at some heavy snow as we head into the overnight hours, maybe even some thunder snow across these regions. We'll look at that here in just a moment. Now, as our storm system makes its way from west to east across the prairie, we can see the advection here, cold air being advected in on the backside. And in advance of that, we see warm air advection being drawn northwards. So our area of low pressure here across central or southern Saskatchewan, again, you can see the storm system very well just looking at the cloud or the temperatures here. What we're looking at is the temperature change over the last 24 hours. So temperatures cooling across Alberta and then southwestern Saskatchewan. And at this time, we're much warmer than we were 24 hours ago across eastern Saskatchewan into Manitoba. You can see the circulation of the storm system again when we look at the temperature forecast over the next 24 to 48 hours. Again, you see the cold air wrapping around the backside, the warm air being lifted northward in advance of the area of low pressure. Really kind of cool to see the traveling storm system there and the warm air and the cold air advection on each side. Now, here's a look at the precipitation. This is where we can kind of hone in on things beginning in the west. We're going to start to see that snow developing across Calgary as we head into the late part of the day into the overnight. We'll go ahead and freeze it first at 6 o'clock this evening. First, seeing that snow emerge from the mountains now across western portions of Alberta, spreading east as we head into the overnight. This would be midnight tonight. This is when we could see some of that thunder snow, or at least very heavy snow north of Highway 16, extending back toward Grande Prairie. South of that, looking at rain showers and maybe a couple of thunderstorms across southern Alberta. I keep wanting to call Alberta Calgary as a whole today. We'll head into the early morning hours then on Tuesday. This would be as the sun rises on Tuesday, seeing that storm system spreading into western portions of Saskatchewan. As we get into midday on Tuesday, so noon tomorrow, the area of low pressure in southeastern Saskatchewan, the precipitation kind of lagging behind that, falling north of Highway 16 across Alberta into Saskatchewan. With warm air being drawn northward across Manitoba. This will be the warmest day in Manitoba this week, with that warm air being drawn northward in advance of the storm. And then as we get into Wednesday and Thursday, that's when snow is going to begin to overspread much of Manitoba, and the dry weather will come to an end in that area. Just looking at the next 24 hours, taking it all the way into midnight on Tuesday night, so precipitation Monday and Tuesday north of Highway 16. This is looking at total snow, 10 to 20 centimeters possible north of Highway 16 across Alberta and Saskatchewan. Total liquid precipitation, again, as you look south of Highway 16, not going to be dry, but we'll see a kind of a broken nature, scattered nature to the precipitation as we talk about individual rain showers and maybe a couple of thunderstorms in that area. Now, I want to draw your attention. We'll kind of focus the prairie broadly here. We're looking at 500 millibar vorticity. And vorticity, where you see the colored areas, where we see areas of positive vorticity moving, that's where we look for the development of cloud cover and precipitation. And what you're going to see is this storm system, you see it wrapped up there, the deep colors there, the circulation is going to begin to swing in from the west. That's what's going to bring the precipitation into Alberta overnight tonight, spreading into Saskatchewan tomorrow. You see it right there. But instead of continuing on its journey, being pushed by the jet stream, we're going to see it begin to kind of spin down and literally just spiral over the prairie over the next 4 to 5 days, all the way into the weekend. And that's going to keep things a little bit unsettled, but we'll talk about why it won't just snow or precipitate through the entire week. And that's because we're going to bring a lot of dry air on the backside of this. We're looking at precipitable water, so the moisture content within the atmosphere. And again, you see all the moisture being drawn northward on the leading edge of the storm system, where we have our warm conveyor belts, our warm, humid air being drawn northward. And on the backside, where we're bringing in colder air, we're also bringing in a much drier air mass from the north. And again, as this begins to just spin down across the region, all we're going to do is funnel more and more dry air into the prairie on the backside of the storm system. Meanwhile, all the moisture is being kind of wrapped up and over the top of that area of low pressure. And so that's what kind of just it leads to the drier window here across the southern portion of the prairie, and then the wetter corridor in this region, where we're just drawing the moisture northward and funneling it up over and top of that storm system for the next 4 to 5 days. Meanwhile, the drier air mass continues to push west to east, finally making its way into Winnipeg and Manitoba as we get into the end of the week and the weekend. So what's that look like in terms of precipitation? Well, we'll start to watch first the precipitation emerging from the mountains here across Calgary and Alberta. There I go again. As we head through the day today, it's just going to be one of those Mondays. I apologize for that. Alberta, you are Calgary now. We'll get it changed for Wednesday morning. We head into Tuesday. We've talked about this already with the high resolution models, but as we get into Wednesday morning and Thursday, we'll start pumping a lot of snow into Manitoba, starting off as rain perhaps across Winnipeg during the Wednesday night and Thursday, but then transitioning over to snow as cold air comes in on the backside. And we could see 2 to 3 days of snow falling across portions of Manitoba here as we go through Thursday, Friday, and maybe even into Saturday morning before we start to quiet down. Now, we'll talk about the details of what follows here as we just go ahead and get into Wednesday and Friday's forecast periods. For now, just understanding that evolution through the end of the week. Also understanding, of course, we are going to bring in some cooler temperatures here on the backside, but we already talked about how this begins to moderate as we head into the end of the week and next week. And again, as we start to bring high pressure back in, start to moderate this air mass, there's a good chance we'll at least crawl back to average over the next 6 or 7 days. So total liquid precipitation over the next 7 days, taking it all the way through the weekend. Again, driest across southern portions of Saskatchewan and Alberta, but not completely dry, still picking up anywhere from a trace to 5 centimeters or millimeters of total precipitation. The dry corridors north of Highway 16 in Saskatchewan and Alberta, and then across much of Alberta or much of Manitoba. That's where we could pick up anywhere from 15 to 20 millimeters of precipitation north of Highway 16 in Alberta and Saskatchewan, and then across much of Manitoba. It could be a little bit higher, anywhere from 20 to 40 millimeters of precipitation. Total snowfall, looking at the ensembles here, again, pretty good agreement with that drier corridor across southern Saskatchewan, southern Alberta, and then good agreement with areas north of Highway 16 in Saskatchewan and Alberta, and then across much of Manitoba, picking up anywhere from 15 to 30 centimeters of snow between now and the weekend. A look at your temperatures as promised, the coolest temperatures of the week here on Wednesday in Calgary with that slow warming trend all the way back up to as close to maybe 10 degrees above zero as we get into Monday and Tuesday of next week. A similar look here in Edmonton with that slow warming trend at the end of the week. Regina, if you got your coldest days here Wednesday and Thursday, same story in Saskatoon, warming up as we head into the weekend and next week. Winnipeg, the cool down delayed even more Thursday and Friday into Saturday, be your coldest days of the week, but then you too will be warming up as we head into next week. I hope you have a great day, a wonderful start to your week. Eric Snodgrass has a look at the evolution of the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Monday Morning Ag Forecast video that's available on the site right now. I'll be back to talk about the Canadian prairie on Wednesday.